What's the first step a mobile web developer should take to address the various screen sizes and resolutions that are out there?
So the first step you should really take is actually deciding what you're going to target. So when you're actually doing mobile web development and you decide you're going to, you really should be talking about modern web development, what you're going to be targeting is, because you have various screen sizes, various densities, and you have what people are actually using. So you got to decide where's your cutoff. When are you just going to say, we're not going to support your crappy little $10 phone that you buy, and conversely, when are you going to say, okay, we're gonna do a reasonable job at this super high resolution, and we're gonna really concentrate on making sure that we get the iPhone and the standard Android devices solid and dialed.
Right.
So you have to decide whether you're doing tablet, desktop, or big TV or a phone as usual.
Now, does a developer, and this is a daunting question, but does a developer really need to understand all of the different devices that are out there, or are there shortcuts and efficiencies that can be employed?
Well, they need to understand what's being used. So what actually being used in out there in the wild. So you have to actually know that people are using their iPhones and iPads, and whether people are using how many people are actually using desktop web still. It's dying, it's on the decline, but there's still people using it. You have to also realize who's using an Android tablet, what sort of tablets are they using, like the Nook or the Nexus 7, and also have to realize who's using the Galaxy Nexus or who's still using their old G1s.
Yeah.
So you have to sort of figure out how will I reach the most people, how can I make this experience the best for those people, and go from there on what you're going to target and how you're going to present your content.
Is it realistic to think you're going to be everywhere?
No, you have to pick your battles. Right. So
it's a nice idea, right?
Yeah,
but
you can so you can decide whether you're going to be 99% everywhere, 90% everywhere, or 80% everywhere, depending on what your project is and what you're actually targeting. So, for example, if you have a photo app, you may want to be mostly on tablets and higher res phones. If you have a schedule app, you may want to actually run the full gambit.
Right. Okay. Are there techniques that automatically scale as new screens come to market?
There are. CSS media queries is one of them. CSS dynamic scaling. There's a good old viewport meta tag, which is hacky, but it works, and JavaScript detection, and also specifying in your header whether you have a mobile version of a website, a tablet version, or a regular desktop version, and trying to determine what the difference is between your landscape desktop version and landscape tablet are. Sometimes there may be some, sometimes it just doesn't matter.
Sure. Now, all right, so if you've got those best practices in place, it sounds like you still have to remain pretty vigilant.
You do. You do. You have to basically go where the people are.
Yeah.
Is what is the main key. You have to make sure that you're using what other people, you're targeting what other people are using. You're not on some obscure weird device and spending your time getting that 1% while 80%'s complaining because you're scrolling slow, or you don't have the right assets for the most common screen. And because while you can scale graphics and do certain things, there's certain things that you have to make sure that you have different assets for different screen densities, because that'll affect your performance of your app. And then we're getting out of how to design for multiple screens into how do you make your app performant.
Okay, all right. Last question for you, Nick, sort of expanding the scope a little bit here. How do you see the mobile web evolving over the next few years? What are the things that we should be watching for?
I think, the mobile web, I think, is starting to solidify a little bit more. There's still a lot of work being done with the mobile web with different frameworks. Of course, I can't pick any particular framework because of what I do. But I think that's going to be interesting is seeing how people deal with mobile web and how that interacts with larger screens, and for example, the Microsoft Perceptive Pixel thing, and if it ever gets a browser, it probably does. I didn't ask yet. And things like that, seeing how the challenge of multiple screens and deploying everywhere works out, actually putting real digital content out on all devices where it actually makes sense.
Right. Well, thanks for joining us. Appreciate you taking the time.